Hey guys, happy Monday. Today is Monday, September 26, 2019. Super excited to have our Orange County Sheriff, John Mina, on the show. Welcome, Sheriff Mina. Super excited to have you on here. Let us know you can hear us and see us. That would be the worst if we had all the wisdom that Sheriff Mina is going to impart and then nobody could hear us or see us. Hey Jason, we already got a thumbs up. Hey John, what's up Batman? Welcome to the show. So you have been on the show before. It was such a great show. Appreciate that. And so I would love to hear more. And people want to know what's going on in Orange County. And you were gracious enough to say, oh my God, it wasn't bad the first time, Ted. I guess I'll come on the second time. So welcome.
Yeah, good to be here, Ted.
Happy to have
fun,
you.
Had a lot of fun last time, and I'm looking forward to it.
It's always a great conversation, right? All right, so tell us a little bit about you. We always like to start with origin story. I think people think they know you, but they may not know you. And sometimes the stuff that you read isn't always the right stuff either. So educate them on you.
All right, so I was born in New York and raised in New Jersey. I went to a Catholic elementary school, was taught by nuns.
What part of New Jersey?
Stanhope, Sussex County.
Stanhope, sure.
Yeah, and went to a public high school, and I think during high school I always wanted to be a police officer, but I don't think I knew I didn't have the discipline or the means to go to college. So I thought, well, my route to law enforcement, to be a police officer, will be through the military. And I talked to a recruiter, an Army recruiter, while I was in high school, and he's like, yeah, we'll sign you up. You could be a military police officer. And he's like, oh yeah, you want to be airborne too? And I was like, well, what's that? He's like, you jump out of airplanes and actually you get paid the extra $100 a month. So I was like, sign me up.
Sign me up.
So I spent 3 years in the Army. I was stationed in Fort Bragg, North Carolina, part of the 82nd Airborne Division. Very proud to have served our country. But I always wanted to be a police officer, and I kind of go back to my childhood and my teen years, because there were two very different interactions I had with law enforcement at a young age that kind of steered me to law enforcement, and kind of really drives my philosophy of community engagement and law enforcement. So the first one, me and my mom and my brothers, we were involved in a car wreck, and I just remember the police officer showing up, and he was professional, and his uniform was sharp, and his car was immaculate. He ended up giving us a ride home because our car was totaled. Luckily everyone was okay. I was probably 5 or 6.
Isn't that amazing that made such an impression on you at that age?
And so but what I remembered, he was like so calm and kind and compassionate. And now, knowing what I know, I've been in law enforcement for 3 decades. I knew that he did that. I know that he did that every single day, and it was probably very mundane. But he knew that wasn't the case for us, and it was pretty traumatic for us. So, and fast forward, I was a young teenager, and I was stopped by the police. And I had longer hair, and I was just cutting through some.
You had longer hair.
I had longer hair.
No way.
Yeah. So that interaction was very different, and the officer, his uniform was disheveled. He hadn't shaved in a day or two, and I could tell. Again, knowing what I know now, I could tell he didn't have pride in his job, what he did. And I think he really hated what he did. But I remember he didn't treat me with dignity and respect. And I always remember those 2 interactions. And I said to myself, if I ever become a police officer, I'm going to be like that first officer and not the second officer. So
I love that. I think it can go either way, right? So people make an impression on you, positive or negative, but they make an impact. Could change the trajectory. Thank God you had the good positive one in the beginning. How did you carry that forward though? I mean, a lot of us I wanted to be a policeman or a firefighter at a certain age, but that's not what I became. Was that passion always with you the whole time, even through the Army?
Yeah, so it seemed like, and then being in the Army, being a military police officer, and it was kind of a different function then, because I was a combat military police officer, more prisoner transports and securing airfields. But we did do a little, I would call civilian law enforcement, responding to fights on the post, and dealing with the issues that law enforcement deals with, just like out in the community. So I said, yeah, I think I want to continue that lifelong dream. And I was lucky I was stationed there in Fort Bragg, and the Orlando Police Department actually came up there
No
to recruit,
way.
and something that they still do, and so does the Orange County Sheriff's Office. It's a pretty good recruiting pool. It's very diverse. A lot of people who already have the discipline and teamwork already built in, and a lot of them want to become law enforcement officers. I was like, 21, 22 at the time. I was like, yes, sign me up. I will come to sunny Orlando, Florida, and be an Orlando police officer. It didn't take too much thought.
Didn't take a lot of convincing. Did you come from a background of law enforcement?
No
That's
background
awesome.
in law enforcement at all, and so got down here and was very, very fortunate enough to be hired by the Orlando Police Department. Spent nearly 28 years there. Had a wonderful, wonderful career there. Did everything you can do, from just being a regular patrol officer to drug enforcement to being a bike cop to I worked in all different parts of the city, and I was assigned to the training section. I was assigned to the chief of police as the staff director or chief of staff for a period of time. I was on the SWAT team for 17 years.
Wow.
And had a great career. And so all along throughout my career, I had other leaders and mentors kind of push me, like, John, take the next test. You should be a good sergeant. You would be a good sergeant. Take the next test. You should be a lieutenant. And I just wanted to be a cop and help people and arrest the bad guy. But what I learned is that at each rank, at each level, when I made sergeant, when I made lieutenant, when I made captain, I could affect even more and more people in a positive way, and kind of kind of direct things, the way I thought they should be done. And
Because before I ask you about the impact, George says he looks like Kevin Costner. Wouldn't you agree, Ted? You got that comment going.
All right.
Hey, Monica. So the impact, I think that's cool, because I think a lot of people get into their position, whatever it is, doesn't necessarily law enforcement, be corporate, and they just want to do their job, go home and be done. But you felt the need, because as you moved up, you could see that you were making more of an impact on more people. So you've actually got a passion, and I'll summarize it. You could say it, you can agree or disagree, but I feel like you have a passion for helping people. You want to make the most impact you can, and the higher up you get, the more impact you're able to make.
I really do have a passion for it. Love being in law enforcement, because you get to meet so many interesting people, and you have the ability to help people. We keep the community safe. We arrest the bad guys. Sometimes take a lot of evil people off the streets, but we also have a different opportunity and ability to affect the community in a way that maybe some people don't realize. And each and every day we have that ability, and it's not all about arresting the bad guy. It's continuing to build trust in the community. So at each level, I learned that I could do more and more of that. And in April of 2014, was sworn in as the 38th police chief in the city of Orlando by Mayor Dyer. Loved working for Mayor Dyer, and had a really heck of a 4 years as chief. Did a lot of great stuff, reduced crime, reduced officer-involved shootings, reduced use of force, reduced complaints on officers by citizens, but also dealt with some tragedies in our community, such as Pulse. My good friend Lieutenant Deborah Clayton was killed in the line of duty. So a lot of different experiences, and challenging, a lot of ups and downs as chief. And
so you get to this, it feels like this giant, this is the ultimate, right? You're chief of police for Orlando, giant metropolis, amazing. And then what is your impetus, what's your catalyst for saying, you know what, I want to be Orange County Sheriff?
Well, and you're right. I absolutely loved being the chief of police. Thought that was the best job in the world. Loved working for Mayor Dyer and his staff. And then when I saw that Mayor Demings was or Sheriff Demings then was gonna run for mayor, I said, you know what? I'm a resident of Orange County. I've been here for nearly 29 years. I really care deeply about the safety of this community, and I thought that well, who else is best equipped to do that job? I felt like I had a huge responsibility to step in, and even though campaigns are not fun at all,
not fun, people.
Being the elected official, you have a target at times just because of the position, which is fine. But I thought that I'm definitely the best person for this job, and said, you know what, I'll run for sheriff. And I had the support of a lot of different people and the community as well.
So when you step into that, when you become sheriff of Orange County, obviously you're talking about, you've got city, and now city's big enough, trust me. Orlando City proper goes further than you would believe. Look at it on a map. Then you become sheriff of all of Orange County. What was the big difference there initially? Is it just the space, the area, or is it? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so there are challenges. The one thing is, it's a lot bigger. 1.3 million people in Orange County, a lot bigger area. A department that was twice the size of the agency that I came from. But the biggest difference that I feel from being chief and now being sheriff is the independence and the autonomy of being an elected official. Like I said, I love to work for Mayor Dyer and his staff, but you're just one of 9 or 10 department directors.
Right.
And police is just a function of the city, which
I
is great.
hadn't
It
thought
works.
about
So really, being the sheriff, you're a constitutional officer. You're elected by the people, so that does give you a lot of independence. You're able to get things done a little bit quicker, but also it comes with a lot more responsibility and challenges. And there's no one to pass the buck to. I can't say, well, it was someone else's fault. It's all me, and I have accepted that and deal with it all the time.
And how long? When were you elected?
So I was elected in November.
Okay, so what have you? So the title of the show obviously is "What's Happening in Orange County," because I think a lot of people, it's hard sometimes to maneuver through the minutia of social media, newspaper, media outlets, and I think people get so much different information and they're not sure how to process it. Which part's accurate, which isn't. So if you can give us kind of an idea what's happening in Orange County, what from your perspective is going on, what kind of cool programs do you have, all the good stuff that's actually happening.
Yeah, so coming in, I benefited from Mayor Demings being there because it was a very, very professionally run organization. I was very, very happy with the things I saw. Of course, I want to put my little spin on it and kind of reorganized some things and put some more crime fighting units in each sector throughout the county and brought more leadership at night where some of our most junior deputies are working. A lot of different cool programs. Probably one of the biggest things that people will notice now is our imprint on social media. And so when I was chief, I would look at the Orange County Sheriff's Office and I'm like, I know they're a great agency, I know they're doing a lot of cool things in the community, but what are they doing? So what I wanted to do is kind of show the community, tell the community what we're doing. So if you've noticed on our Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, it's just blown up because we're really telling our story. As a matter of fact, we hired someone specifically as our storyteller, and that's all in an effort to tell people about the positive things that we're doing in our community. Yes, we're reducing crime, but we're also impacting some of our residents in ways that maybe people don't realize. That we're playing basketball and football with the kids. We're reading to our kids. We're having community barbecues, not for any reason, but all in an effort to build trust, continue to build trust in our community, and let our residents be engaged with their sheriff's office, show them that, hey, the sheriff, his deputies, his commanders are accessible, they're out there, and they want to do a lot of good in this community.
Well, and a couple of comments. Chad Cartledge got on and he says, Sheriff does a great job with Zachariah Cartledge. Does all the running. He's 10 years. He's amazing. He's so far ahead. He was on the show, and it was the first time I'd ever had somebody his age on the show, and I was just blown away by him. And I love all the stuff that he's done. Shirlitza's awesomeness, of course. Tell us about the Orange County as a whole. So everything, there's so much stuff that we get out there. People don't know how to access. They are seeing you on social media. I made the comment to Sheriff Mina earlier that whoever's doing his social media is doing a phenomenal job, because before that we didn't know, and the trust is so important. You've mentioned that several times, and I don't know why there's a distrust. I don't have one, but I know that it's out there.
Sure.
And so what have you done? What kind of programs, what kind of outreach are you all doing? We joked earlier, and that was my joke, not Sheriff Mina's. You only see the camera stuff, so you only see what's posted. There's a whole other world that goes on I mean, you have to run a county sheriff
Right.
department, but you have a lot of other things that go on. So tell us about what's going on out there. What's going on in Sheriff Mina's world? Are you up at 8 a.m. and at 40 different events each day? And how is all of that progressing? And then I want to get to the you're up for re-election.
Yeah, so my day starts at 5:15. That's when I wake up in the morning, and I like to get in early. And so when I get into work, that first hour or so is really the only time I have to myself to kind of get things organized with emails and kind of lay out exactly what's going to happen for the day. And I will say one of the biggest challenges has been the schedule, and being in such a big county, everyone wants the sheriff to be at their event or to come to their community meeting, and I'm lucky enough to have a very large organization where if I can't be there, someone from the sheriff's office will be there if you ask about it. So we're always trying to be out in the community, and whether it's a community barbecue, a town hall, like I said, we have a pretty big footprint in the schools now. We have a deputy in every single school in Orange County, something we're very proud of, and now it's the law. So we really go above and beyond to interact with our kids. We have a police athletic league, which is amazing, and just got a huge donation to help with that as well. And all in the idea of building that trust, especially with some of our youth. And when we're talking about police and community relations and sometimes distrust, that goes back generations, right?
Sure.
And something that law enforcement as a whole nationwide continues to try and overcome. But I think law enforcement nationwide, I think law enforcement in this community is doing a fantastic job in realizing that not everyone grew up like I did and had that positive interaction with a police officer. We really have to sometimes overcome the sins of the past, and nationwide incidents that we see really don't help us. I think here in Orange County, it's important to see that we're human. We're going to make mistakes.
Correct.
And in law enforcement, those are critical mistakes. So the idea is to hold ourselves accountable, be very, very transparent about it. Something I've done throughout my career.
So you've been chief, then sheriff, and now it's re-election time. You could go out as you are, and you've decided you want to pursue this. You want to continue in your role. Talk about that. What was the process of that? Because it makes a big impact on family too. This isn't an easy job. Anybody who's in any kind of leadership position,
right. It's
not an easy job. You have to take into consideration there are many people you're impacting. So what was the decision-making process there?
Yeah, so if you remember, since Demings had left his term early to run for mayor, to be elected as our mayor, my first term was only 2 years, so I really just got right back in to campaigning, and I've only been there 10 months or so, so really I haven't done all the things that I want to do at the sheriff's office, and still lots to be done, still lots especially in our community that we want to do, that people will see coming soon. And but again, I go back to the same thing. I feel like I have responsibility. I know I'm the best person for this position. I think, and I know because I'm out there in the community every day, that people really love what we're doing at the Orange County Sheriff's Office. I have an incredible team of deputies and commanders that are out there that go along with that philosophy as well. So a lot of great stuff still to be done, and that's why I want to get reelected. And
it's hard when you're in a position. It doesn't matter. Like even Mayor Dyer, we were talking about earlier. You're in that position. You have this whole. You're building up this. You've got everything starting to roll. Now you're finally in, and you don't want to stop the momentum. And so I understand that from being a leader. So how can people get involved in the community? I think a lot of people don't know. We talk about on the show a lot that community involvement is so important. Get involved. And people may not even know that there are programs, things that you can do as a community member to get involved that are with the Orange County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah, so tons of ways to get involved. We talked about this earlier, to volunteer in our community. If you really want to have a good sense, a good idea of what's going on at the Sheriff's Office, we have civilian police academies for both adults and teens. The one we do in the summer is have been a huge success. And also, we have a very vibrant volunteer program, and nearly 500 volunteers. If you just want to be one of our volunteers, to be out there in the community and help us out with all these different community events. And you really get to, again, you get to meet so many interesting people. You get to feel like you're helping out and really doing a good job for law enforcement. And at the same time, you really get to learn about what the Sheriff's Office is doing out in this community, amazing work that's going on.
Yeah, I think it's interesting. Monica brings up, she said, yes, we want to know and have the access. The interesting thing about the show, when we do this, we talk with a public official, is that people do want to get involved, and yet they don't understand the path to do it. And they also are afraid. They feel like there won't be accessibility, and I can tell you firsthand that that's just the opposite. When I was on the Mayor's Academy, it was such an eye-opener for me, and I've lived here for, I don't know, more than 5 years. I've been around a long time, and I learned so much just from being a part of that organization, things that I didn't know was going on. Monica has a question. Is there a newsletter we're able to sign up for these opportunities?
Right. So the best way to find out what we're doing at the Sheriff's Office is to follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. That's where we put out all of our information, and you can go to our website, ocso.com. That also has opportunities on there for not only full-time positions, but how you can volunteer in our community.
So what do you want to leave them with? And then I'll ask my last question, which you know. And we're going to share all of that information. I tagged Sheriff Mina's page on Facebook. We'll also, whoever's helping with social media, will share the website. We'll share maybe the Twitter and the Instagram and how to reach out to them via that. Because I think it's super important to follow those things. I get a lot of information from that. That's where I see the majority of the things that you are doing out in the community, because people are all about pictures now. We have a short attention span, so we want to just look real quick what's going on, and if that piques your interest, then you want to be able to reach out. But there's lots and lots of ways for you guys to get involved, and we'll obviously share that. All right, so I always want to ask the last question. We want to talk about mentorship. Mentorship is so super important. Ted's Community and the TED Show are really about that, and I know all of our public officials are about that because we all had mentors. I still continue to this day to have mentors. So can you tell us about any mentors in your world? Give them a shout out, people who've helped you along the way.
Absolutely. Several, but probably the two that had the most impact on my career, or maybe even in my life as a father, is a former Chief Paul Rooney and the now Chief of Police for Kissimmee, Jeff Odell, who spent a career at the Orlando Police Department. Both of them I reach out to all the time for advice, and I felt like they were, like I told that story about people were just pushing me to take the next test or to move up, and they were the ones that really kind of pushed me along and helped my career out. So big shout out to Paul Rooney and Jeff Odell.
I think it's so important for us as a community as a whole to be those people for people who are up and coming, and to be that support system, because a lot of times people don't come from it, and so they don't have anybody, they don't have the positive role models, they don't have anybody pushing them in a positive way. There's a lot of naysayers that we unfortunately are surrounded by all the time, and so for you to just take a moment and be that mentor for someone is just super important. This isn't a lot of time. He's talking about two people who were, Sheriff Mina's talking about two people who were in his life already. If you want to take an active role, there's so many amazing organizations out there that are in our area that you can take an active role, especially up and coming kids who need that father, mother, or any kind of role model for them. So please get involved. Be a mentor. Get out there in the community. All right, you've been a joy to have on. As always, Sheriff Mina, thank you so much. Sheriff Mina, Orange County Sheriff. There's the Facebook page. Please reach out to him. He's incredibly accessible and just as nice when you see him as he is on the TED Show. Thanks again for coming on. We love you guys. If you have questions, by the way, we've talked about it. We will respond to those afterwards. So if you didn't want to ask it live, please go on after the show and ask it. Post it in the comments. Ask, because I know that he and his team will absolutely respond to you. So we love you guys. We'll see you back here soon.
Bye.
Wow. Bye.